Hey, what's up, guys? Randall from Odds Jam back with you Tuesday evening. Going to take a look on Odds Jam, see if there's anything out there that we can bet. If not, I'm going to show you a couple of the kind of new features that are out there, just to show you kind of how we're making your life easier to help you use these tools that we provide. So go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to hop over here to the NFL page. It's just where I started off here. So you can look here. You can obviously compare the odds with all of the NFL games. We've talked about this before, how important it is to line shop. So nothing really new there. But what I wanted to show you was with our newest update on the positive EV page. So one thing that we just recently added, obviously we have the recommended filters that are showing you the best bets that are out there all throughout the day. But one thing that's really cool now is we have a column here, recommended bet size. So, if you don't want to click the calculator, you can if you want to see the win percentage, obviously. And if you want to see kind of what percentage of your bankroll to bet. But basically, that's doing all of that for you. It's taking this number that you're seeing in here, 49.52, it's rounding it up to 50. So now, you can save a little bit of time. Whatever your bankroll is, you can put that in and it will show you what to bet. So I was messing around with this before coming on, but if you go, say your bankroll is 10,000, all right, and we save that, we hop back over to the EV page, you're going to notice that those numbers are significantly different. So, 250 on this bet, 190 here. So just another way to kind of save you guys some time when it comes to locking these EV bets in, because again, time is very critical when trying to place bets on these outcomes. So anything we can do to shorten the amount of time you spend, whether it's clicking the calculator or whatever, we're definitely trying to do that for you. So looking here, I've been on a few times today. Don't really see a lot of new bets that are out there. Now, keeping in mind, I'm in Illinois. I can switch states here in just a second, but we've looked at a couple of these already. We talked about them on the last live stream. This under 23 in the Chargers-Texans game. We hit this earlier for an EV bet. Now, you'll notice it's plus 110, minus 110. So if you wanted to bet both sides, make it a low hold opportunity, rack up some rewards on Caesars, rack up some rewards on DraftKings, you could certainly do that. I actually went back and hit that again later on just to get some reward points there with both of those. So let's go ahead and turn the recommended filters off. Let's hop over here to the live EV page. Let's just see if there's anything that's out there. Now, with live EV betting, you're definitely not going to get every single one of these plays in. So don't think that if you're doing live betting, you're going to get them all in, because you're certainly not. But what you can see here, is we're showing you the value across all of these sports books with these live odds. So typically what I like to do is, kind of try to follow these games on my phone, see when I can get a break in the action and try to lock some of these in. So, you can see there are just a ton of opportunities tonight in baseball, 30 opportunities for you to pick from. So as long as you've got your sports books up and ready to go, you'll be able to place those bets. You should be able to lock in some good profit night in and night out. So live odds only on the platinum plan. So if that's something you're interested in, just shoot me an email, contact@oddsjam.com or Randall@oddsjam. We can set up a time to talk about this, get you going with the live odds if that's something you're interested in. You'll notice quite a few bets with MGM that are out there. So if you have MGM, definitely a lot of very good live betting opportunities. Typically for me, MGM, actually, if you didn't know this, MGM offers a risk-free $25 free bet every single week. If you have a Buffalo Wild Wings in your area, if you go to the Buffalo Wild Wings, you scan the thing, you get a $25 free bet. And then if it loses, they give it back to you in the form of a free bet. So it's $25 risk-free bet essentially. If it loses, you could obviously come here to the free bet converter on your $25 free bet. You could change this to MGM being the book that you have that $25 free bet on, and you could convert it, straight to cash if you wanted to. So if it was $25, you could get 18 of that back if you wanted to. Now, what I typically do, what I've done is I've been parlaying every single week my 5 picks in the NFL. So last week, I actually lucked out. I went 5-0 in the NFL. So my risk-free bet ended up hitting, but that was kind of my goal going into the season, was bet $25 on a parlay each week with 5 NFL picks, hit a couple of them, and going to come out, well ahead. So definitely Buffalo Wild Wings, if it's near you, check it out, because again, it's literally a $25 risk-free bet every single week. If you don't have MGM, come over here to resources, legalization tracker, whatever state you're in. Let's say you're in Indiana. Scroll down, you can take advantage of the Bet MGM $1,000 risk-free bet. So be sure to check that out. Take advantage of all those books, regardless of what state you're in. If you're not sure what sports books your state has, we have them all right here. You should be signed up for every single one of them and taking advantage of those bonuses. So looks like I've got a couple of questions, so go ahead and throw those up on the screen. James, how's it going, man? Appreciate you tuning in. Love to bring all this information to you guys. Feel free to ask questions. We're happy to answer those for you and see what we can do to help you out. Willie, what's going on, man? What's my favorite spot in week 4? Man, that's a very, very good question. Let's jump over here to the NFL page. Usually, by now, I typically know what I'm going to be on, at least, as kind of my favorite play of the week. This year, it started out very, very nicely. 3-0 to start, had the Seahawks in week 1, had the Eagles in week 2, had the Colts last week. But this week, man, nothing really sticks out. I mean, if I had to say kind of what my play of the week would be right now, I'd probably lean to Washington, actually. Plus 3, I believe, is the line. You can actually get a 3.5. But I'm not really sold on that per se this week, but that would probably be my initial, would be Washington plus the 3.5. A couple of other games, and I mean, I'll finalize this and figure out what I'm going to do once Sunday rolls around. But one other game that I'm looking at is the Niners. I think there's some really good value on them. One thing I like to do, one angle, anytime a team plays on prime time and just looks absolutely pathetic, you can generally back them that next week, and it usually turns out to be, pretty solid. It's not obviously a perfect formula or anything like that, but Tennessee got smashed against the Bills. They ended up winning that game on Sunday against the Raiders. But if you look at it on the flip side, I mean, the Eagles smashed the Vikings, and the Vikings were a total no-show. So they were lucky to win that game. But San Francisco, San Francisco looked awful on Sunday night. So did the Broncos. I don't know that I can bring myself to bet the Broncos. I initially liked the Raiders in this spot, but I'm probably actually staying away from this game now because I don't want to bet the Raiders. I mean, they are 0-3. I think that line's a little juiced for that reason, kind of a must-win game. And Denver looks so bad. I mean, nobody wants a piece of them at this point. So the Niners are another side that I'm looking at. And then, kind of maybe, I don't know if you would call it an under the radar game, but probably not one that has a lot of, people's attention, but Jets Steelers, I kind of like the Steelers there a little bit. But I would have to look. I'd have to look at Washington. That's probably, if I had to pick a game right now, Willie, I would say Washington plus 3.5 is going to be my game of the week in this particular spot. So Mr. Punch, value on the Dolphins at plus 180 or above. So, yeah, let's take a look at that game. This game's interesting. You've got a Dolphins team who they came back against Baltimore, looked like it could be a flat spot last week against the Bills. They ended up getting the win. And now they're on the road at Cincy. Cincy coming off of that win against the Jets, which, not all that impressive. But here's the thing with Cincinnati. And I mean, you could argue that Cincinnati could be 3-0. They probably should have won the game against the Steelers. They had a chance at least to win against Dallas. I mean, at worst, they should probably be 2-1. They're a 1-2 football team. The thing with Cincinnati, and one thing that makes me say yes, to your question of is there value on the Dolphins at plus 180 or above, is I always love to fade the team that loses the Super Bowl. It's the Super Bowl hangover effect. I mean, if we look at, let's just take a look here real quick. Last year at the Kansas City Chiefs schedule in 2021. Now, I don't remember these numbers off the top of my head in terms of lines, but if we look at this, like the Chiefs were laying 6.5 in this game, they didn't cover. They were laying 2.5 in this game against the Ravens. The Ravens won that game outright. That was my top bet of that week. They didn't cover this game against the Chargers. They covered this game against the against the Eagles. So, I mean, they started out 0-3 against the spread. And then, they lost to the Bills. They obviously covered against the Commanders. They got run out by the Titans. Didn't cover against the Giants. Covered this game against the Packers with no Aaron Rodgers. But, teams that lose the Super Bowl typically have slower starts to the season, are usually good teams to fade against the spread. So I do like the Dolphins here. It's just in terms of taking the points, because I do think there is some value, but it's one of those spots that I could never really take Miami based on the win last week against Buffalo, and everybody is high on him. And the Tua injury, whatever that is very alarming to me. I'm not sure what's going on there. It's definitely not a back injury. Well, I don't care what they say. There's more to it than that. But I mean, yeah, you look at this plus 185. I mean, if you're comparing a couple of other sharp books, Bookmaker, Bet Online, and Pinnacle, I mean, there's some definite value there if you're looking at those three books, and all three of those are very, very respected. But you can see Bookmaker and Bet Online, they've got this set at 4. PointsBet set at 4.5. This line actually opened 1.5. So betting it now, I mean, if you're taking the Bengals now, you're taking a horrible number because you could have had 1.5, 2 on Sunday night. And that was actually an EV play while I was on the stream. So definitely some value on the Dolphins, in regards to what the opener was and what you can get now. So let's see here. Next question. Is Joe Mixon playing on Thursday? I do not know. I would assume he probably is based on the line. I mean, I don't know how much Mixon is actually worth to the line, maybe a half a point, maybe a point, but probably not even a full point. So maybe a half a point. But yeah, I'm not sure. The one thing, I mean, Cincinnati struggled to run the ball against the Jets. Definitely going to have to try to find that running game at some point in the season if they are going to be successful. So did want to point out, I mentioned this earlier on how you can kind of search now for the games. This is another new feature that we just released today. So before, you used to click the drop down and then you had to scroll, all the way down, or you could type it in. You can still type it in here. Maybe hold on just a second. So you can actually, I'm sorry. It's all in one spot. So you can see here that if you're looking for player props, it's all right here. So if we want to look at just player touchdowns, we can click that for this Dolphins-Bengals game. It's going to take us to the touchdowns. Now this is setting it 1.5, 2.5. Let's see if the anytime touchdown score is on here. Let's see, there it is right there. Other markets. So anytime touchdown score there at the bottom. So we can take a look. There's a few books that have have odds up. So, I mean, yeah, looking kind of to answer your question, I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but I mean, Mixon minus 110. I mean, it appears he probably will play. Now, certainly books could pull this, and if he doesn't play, it would just be void. But it looks like fact they are hanging a number on that. Minus 110 on DraftKings. That's some pretty good value for Mixon to score a touchdown there, if that's something that you're looking at. I haven't looked at my anytime touchdown score sheet for this week, so I'm not really sure if there's any value out there for an anytime touchdown score. So probably not going to give anything out in terms of that. But let's hop back over to the EV page. Let's just see if there's anything there that's new. Markets are always moving. These numbers are constantly being bet. I mean, I talked about the Bengals earlier, opened 1.5. It was immediately bet up to 3.5, 4.5. Colts last week +7 on the EV page, bet down to 5.5, 4.5, 6 in some spots. I mean, depending on where you were shopping. But the point is, if you're going to get the best number in college football and in the NFL, I mean, you have to do your betting early in the week. Otherwise, you're probably taking a shot on something that is definitely negative EV in terms of comparing the lines with the rest of the market. So looking here, I mean, I don't really see anything that's out there that kind of catches my eye here while scrolling. But let's go take a look at the middles page. We've had some success there on the middles page. This is one that actually, I refreshed that. Let's see. It's probably not still up. Actually, it is. So this is the game for tomorrow. Over 7.5 runs +30, +135, under 8. This was an example earlier. If you're able to bet this and it lands on exactly 8, you're going to be refunded the bookmaker side. You're going to win the DraftKings side. If that doesn't happen, then you're making a risk-free $10. So middles page, very, very nice page to look at and try to find some bets. And then, of course, the ARB page here where you can make some risk-free money, some lower percentages here. But if you wanted to bet Georgia, Missouri, you could definitely lock up some profit on that particular bet. So just wanted to come here, go live for a few minutes. Always appreciate you guys tuning in. I will be back here tomorrow at 2 Eastern. So if you want to tune back in, we're going to try to go live more, show off the EV page. If you guys have questions, love for you to bring them so that we can answer those. And as always, I'll just put it in here in the chat. If you ever have any questions about anything, you can just email me, Randall@oddsjam.com. Be more than happy to take care of you. So appreciate you guys tuning in, and good luck on your bets tonight, and I will see you tomorrow.